think we should be good. YouTube gave me the red light. I mean the green light.
It's a go. Go, go, go.
What's up, dudes? What are you hobbying on? Exciting stuff?
Same thing I hobby on every week.
Orcs?
Orcs. More orcs. For the love of God.
Last night,
we are. Go.
We're good? Nice.
Yeah, we're good.
I hope the volume's okay. I always muck around the volume between the solo streams and the group ones that we do.
I don't know. They'll tell us.
We'll see.
I'm loud. Loud as all sin anyway.
It should be okay. It should be okay. I am working on Accursed Cultists tabish, so don't feel bad. It'll be...
Hello, Pyro. Usuals.
Yeah, Pyro. Hail to chat.
Hail.
I've fallen in love with this Torment. This one Torment.
I've noticed. I feel like you've been... Yeah, you've been
He's amazing.
Working on this lad for a little while.
He has I don't know, it stirs something in me, you know, like it's some sort of primal fear. This kind of venom. He's got some venom energy too, which I like. You know, with the long mouth.
Oh yeah,
it reminds me of Marvel vs. Capcom Venom.
For sure.
It's very cool.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that one. I think that is probably my favorite one out of the lot. Out of like the bigs, the three bigs.
Yeah.
I don't remember the other ones.
What are the other ones? Here, I'll put on stream real quick. We got the lady whose life is suffering right here.
Yeah.
And then we got the kind of fat guy, but he's not really fat. He's pretty.
I kind of like the fat guy too.
Yeah.
I have a soft spot for people who are my rotundness.
Rotund. That's the best way to position that body type.
Yeah,
that's funny.
No, they're looking good.
Nice.
I like the juxtaposed blue to your red word bearers. Your crimson word bearers. Your maroon
their
word
red
bearers
is much more crimson.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys are looking pretty spicy. I like them.
You're working on some Necrons?
Yeah, nothing too crazy. I've done 54 hours of my work week in the span of 4 days, so
crushing it.
Yeah, just working on life. But it's time to get back to hobby stuff. So back to Necrons. So yeah, it's they're just mostly gunmetaled up, and now I'm just dropping in some ink where I'm going to do some OSL with an airbrush, but airbrushes for after stream.
Nice. Gonna do that classic green kind of OSL?
Yeah, I'm just a fan of vintage Necrons, like that black silhouette with the hues of green, like that old Dawn of War cover, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. The Necron just be black?
Like really dark metal, like really, really dark metal.
Okay.
Yeah, there was not very much specular highlights on old Necron models. It's just like black metal and green tubes is what I remember.
Oh, I miss those acrylic tubes.
Are
you happy they're gone?
I'm happy they're gone. Because the reason why is I'm a fan of the green.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of the green color, but not everybody is. So having those tubes be green, and let's say you wanted to do like red or purple or whatever, now you had to paint it. You know, paint it over, unless you went like third party and found people who sold colored tubes, right?
Okay, fair point.
So
Fair point. Yeah, that could.
it's just, yeah, and just in terms of like a modeling idea, it's just probably better that they're gone. It is funny though that they are still selling Necron models that have them, specifically destroyers.
I was just gonna ask if it was the old destroyers.
It is. Destroyers piss me off, like, to no fucking end because of that very reason. Like, they're the only... I'm just quickly... like, don't quote me on it, but I'm just quickly looking over all the Necron models real quick. And other than the stupid old characters, and by stupid I mean I love them, that are still fine cast, they're the only thing that is still 3rd edition Necrons. It's still the same 3rd edition Necron model. And I like the new chubby destroyer, like the Locust, big old chunk boy. But they don't have a weapon that is similar to the just God's destroyer or whatever they are, like the regular ones.
Yeah, like the anti-elite kind of weapon.
Yeah, you get that really big heavy duty one, but that's actually really good now from like what I've looked at. Like that the not anti-tank one, like it's like a disintegrator or something.
12 barrels slapped together.
Yeah, the one that's got like 12 barrels. That thing is sick.
Oh,
like
so sick.
in this meta of orcs, like I think you can make them a unit of 6, but maybe just 3. I'm not 100% sure. But like a unit of them, that's a lot of shots because I'm pretty sure it's 6 shots with rapid 6 more. So you're each guy shooting 12 shots. And they're strength 6, AP1 or AP2, and 1 damage. And then they still got, like, the destroyer, like, horseshit. Like, reroll a hit roll or reroll wound rolls of, like, 1. So, like, they're good. So, like, originally when I was picking up some of these, like, Locust guys, I was just going to use that, like, triple barrel gun as, like, the other Necron. But, like, now it's, like, kind of can't do that. I'd have to, like, come up with another solution. Also, just like the old Necron destroyer like body is just really dated now.
Oh yeah, the big scarab butt doesn't look as good.
Yeah, the big scarab butt is.
The new Locust destroyer just looks way better.
Oh yeah, I've got 3 of them sitting on the table.
You know, I can't. You know.
Yeah, it's just like that. They're like, and the other like really neat thing about the heavy one is it doesn't show on like the product image very well. You have to go like turn the model, but they have 3 arms. They have 1 arm connected into the gun, and then they have 2 more arms on the other side. One holding the like center line focal point, and then the other one holding like another like section of it. So it like really shows like the weight of the gun on the model. Whereas like the old destroyer, it's just attached to his other arm, and then he's got a gangly like skeleton hand on the other side, just like out and about. So it's not my favorite.
That model had its day.
The other thing, going back to like Necron talk right now is, I get, well, I don't get, but it pisses me off that like, you know, they put Imhotech, like a new plastic for Imhotech. They put a new Overlord. And then they put Orican the Diviner. And I was like, oh, man. They put Orican the Diviner out. That means Trajan's going to get one. I love Trajan. Out of all 40k things, I don't even really... Like, I only just recently got Necrons, but, like, ever since 5th edition Necrons and they put Trajan out, and, like, the little blurb that he's, like, this weird collector guy, and, like, he doesn't mind being, like, a Necron because he gets to, like, collect for the rest of his days. And he's, like, super eccentric and like I don't know, like he's just the polar opposite of like a atypical Necron, like especially if you've watched Caesara's or in the like little show from like Warhammer Plus, like he's Caesara's is like your quintessential Necron guy. Like he is, oh, I'm calculating and you will be destroyed and disintegrated and I am doing all these evil experiments. And then Trajan's just over here, like, super flamboyant and, like, awesome, right? Like, he's super awesome, eccentric, weird collector guy. And they didn't put a fucking plastic model out for it. Even though they did Orican the Diviner, and both of them are in that fucking book. And you'd think they'd be like, oh, people bought that book, the 2 characters are in it. It'd be a perfect time to like slap them both together, and they have this like cool like dichotomy of like how one is like super focused, all about like the future, like divining, because you know he controls that like crazy tech that can destroy like whole galaxies or whatever. And then like Trajan's just like, oh, I go and fuck with the Mechanicum and like to mess around with Belisarius Call all the time.
Yeah,
But
you
they
have
didn't
one
do
guy
that.
who takes his job seriously and one guy who's kind of more fun.
A little goofball, little trickster, delinquent. And no, he's still fun cast.
Weird.
And then the other characters, I don't give a shit about. I have like PTSD from Nemesaur, Zandrek, and Vanguard Oberon. From...
Oh, I think I share that same PSD from a certain player in our gaming group.
Yeah, a certain doctor. And so like
Terrible.
I can't stand those characters, so I was glad they're gone. But and then Anric here, the Traveler, I've played against like once because he was like the tank guy. Like he just always went in like a command barge. And he didn't really bother me. And then yeah, just to have the Catan and like the Deceiver and the Nightbringer still be their 3rd edition Finecast model is just like, I don't know. They how many models is that? 1, 2, 3. Let's just say 3. 3 models to let's say 4 for the destroyers as well. So 4 models to basically have your range done. Like you don't have to do any more. Necrons that are then done, and they couldn't do that. Like
no, they couldn't, dude. There's no way, because look, if they're done, then they have to make new models. So like, look, now this way, 11th edition rolls around. Necrons need a new book. They release 1 character in a battle box.
Oh, you're right.
Dude,
and then you know they do
works.
a kill team with like Trajan walking around in like I don't know, like a Blackstone fortress, and you got to buy that like FOMO box with like 17 characters from like the Imperium and like Xenos races just to get, you know, Trajan. Yeah, it's fucking lovely. It's my favorite.
Yep. I saw the reveals from that was like, I don't know. I wasn't like waiting to watch it live or anything, so it came out and I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that.
I totally spaced out, but I mean, mind you, I'm at work on the weekend, so it's like,
Right.
like you guys are like adding me, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta go look. Where's my lunch break?
Yeah, and I saw the just as history foretold, right? The Sisters of Battle, single character and in a battle box. Genestealer Cult Codex. Oh, single character. Here you go in a battle box. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Well, the redacted Codex thing.
No.
I don't know if these were on the original roadmap. I can't recall the.
I think sister. I don't know.
So maybe GSC was not. Maybe that was the redacted one they were teasing on that initial roadmap image from.
That would be so like weak, sad, weak, pathetic, because redacted, like saying Genestealer Cult is redacted is just this like, you're just being cute, right? Like you're just being cute that they're like,
you don't know what the last one is. Yeah, it's stupid.
Ooh, Genestealer Cults, they're, you know, they're bad, heretical, yucky. Like, oh, that's redacted.
Putting
it's like,
redacted implies that this is something new.
Big.
Yeah.
Fucking new.
Yeah.
Fucking, oh my god. Like, this is Dark Mechanicum. This is Emperor's Children. This
100%.
is fucking
That's what people
whatever,
assume.
right?
Right.
Like, no, it's Genestealer Cults.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily what this was. Maybe the roadmap changed. I should probably look up that old roadmap.
Who cares?
I was somewhat following the roadmap. I was like very intrigued. Like, okay, I like that they're doing roadmaps. What a mark of progress, right?
Yeah.
Finally, we're getting roadmaps. Not for the whole edition, mind you, just for the first
Just a
year.
couple.
But we'll see, because I'm curious to see if the roadmap has been expended, because then I'm curious for the next one, you know?
Would be nice. I guess we can like kind of start talking about some of the reveals, I guess. I mean, I guess I can open it up.
Wait, this Gene Stealer cult character is fucking sick.
Is it?
Yeah, big brain?
I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I think it's fine. I'm not hating. Okay, it's fun to look at.
It's a neat model. It's just one of those. Did Gene Stealer cults need another fucking character? Because like they already have like fucking 30 characters. Like they're more characters than data sheets.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Melon. Like, is Gene Stealer cults hurting for characters?
No, in fact, most of them are not desirable. You like in a competitive sense, the only character that matters is the Primus. The Primus is the only important one. Not in a lore stance, not in a whatever stance. It's just strictly because it makes the unit that he's in kill things better. Like that's all he does. And the rest of them are not worth it because the army's synergies rely in regenerating and you don't get the character back. So the more characters you add, they're just there supplementally. And then the only other character that is good, well, she's still good, but she's more points, is the Reductus Saboteur, which I'm glad because she sucked the last edition, but now she's good. She's lone op. She does a ton of damage with her like landmine thing. She gets to do grenade, like extra grenades. Like she's super great. It's just she got her points raised. So yeah, they don't right now. They don't need those characters, but who knows? Their detachments may make you want to have one of each. That's how it used to be in the past. You could only have one of each. You couldn't have multiple characters. You had to have one Primus, one Magus, one Brood Lord, so on and so forth.
With certain characters, I don't know if this is a hot take. Probably not. Like I much prefer that, man. Like when I play, like no shade to our friendly orc player in our play group at all, but I'm not fond of. Oh, here's my list. A whole bunch of boys. Each unit of boys has a war boss in the unit. Each one has a pain boy in the unit. I'm just like, oh my god, kill me. Here's my list of Chaos Space Marines, and there's 3 groups of Chosen, and each Chosen has a Chaos Lord. And like, what the fuck is this? The Avengers? They're all assembling here? What's happening? Why are there so many? It's a suspicious amount of Chaos Lords here, okay?
I do miss when they had like the Tau Commander rule, the Space Marine Captain rule / Chapter Master rule. Like you could only have one. It was just one, and then that was it. Because that's kind of how it
used to be a problem, right? And people were doing, what was it, 9 Flying Hive Tyrants or something at early 8th edition, and then I think that's where that rule came out of.
The rule of 3
came.
Yeah, the rule of 3 came out with the Hive Tyrants. Like it was strictly for that, like because you can't have an army of 9 Flying Hive Tyrants because that was the army. And then the Tau one kind of pushed that even further because Tau commanders were so efficient. Like buying a Tau commander in 8th edition did more output or equal output and was less points than having a full squad of crisis suits, like a 3-man squad. So you may as well have just spammed those guys. You got better fusion guns. They came with they had that old Cold Star ability where they could just fly 40 inches or wherever.
Fun time.
Yeah, so Tau got an even worse punishment where they could only have 1 commander per detachment. And then Farsight came out and that allowed two commanders per detachment, but like those types of rules, they need to be in place because it just kind of gets out of hand with multiples of the same basically character. I understand in lore and like storylines that there are Chaos Lords that vie for like leadership and whatever, and they're like they're all fighting in this like war band, right?
Sounds like a narrative game mode to me. That's all I'm hearing.
it does, but then you get like too many of the same cook in the kitchen, I don't know. It just gets a little homogenized. Like you said, like having, here's my 20-man unit of boys with a war boss and a pain boy. Here's my other 20-man unit of boys with a war boss and pain boss, or a pain boy. And it's like, isn't there supposed to be only one war boss?
Yeah. Well,
like,
just from a
don't they
from a
fight
look
each other?
perspective. You know what it is? I've been too biased by like maybe it's nostalgia from those old like 3rd edition rule books when you'd see an army on that goblin green gaming table. You know those photography photography from those codexes I'm talking about. And the armies look so pure. There was a real like
I was
You see that one character and you're just oh man, that's a good looking army. Look at that guy. He's a big fucking deal, that guy. You can tell.
I always see the old Crimson Fist one where it's like Pedro Cantor front and center with like one box dreadnought, like a unit of guys here, a Devastator squad there. Because that's like old 3rd edition anyway. Like, points were crazy back then. Is like your army wasn't that big. Like the only armies that were big were orcs and Tyranids, sort of. Like Tyranids got pretty out of hand with like the amount of models because I think back then a Termagant in 3rd edition was like 4 points. 4 points a guy.
Nice.
Wait, so is there an argument? Like, would you guys feel better if it wasn't just Chaos Lords and people were taking other HQ options?
I feel that's kind of what I'm getting. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like, you should maybe not so much restricted, but you should be more incentivized to bring, unique something else. Yeah, like bring a Master of Executions, bring a library or sorcerer, bring whatever, right? Like you should be incentivized to that and rewarded for it.
So isn't Genestealer cults having a lot of characters that are different from each other? Ignoring that they're not maybe good on the tabletop, isn't that a better environment?
So the rule previously in the last edition, you could only ever bring one. You couldn't spam them. Like that was part of their rule. You could not take more than one because they had the unique part to them. Yeah. And now like the current Genestealer cults and pretty much every army it's better to take just multiple Primuses because that's where your like damage comes from. It's not lore like responsive, I guess.
Fair enough. But it is in lore for Genestealer cults to have a lot of different characters.
Oh yeah. It's basically like the fucking like weirdos of the Imperium like amplified into Genestealers. Like, and you get to like go like deep with it, right? You get like that weird mad doctor that works on aberrants and like he's focused around aberrants. You get the weird super aberrant that's like all jacked up with the sledgehammer. Like I love the characters in my GSC. Like GSC was really, really fun for me. It's less fun now for me because the only reason I got into them originally was for Crossfire. I thought that was the best ability ever. I thought that was the most unique faction ability in all of 40K that I've ever played. Just because it rewarded me for my favorite phase in 40K, which is the movement phase. I hate shooting. I hate melee because it involves me rolling a dice, and that's Jesus take the wheel for me. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't want to blame it. I don't want to say, this, that, or the other thing, but if I can avoid it, it's my favorite. And the movement phase is the only one that I don't have to worry about dice rolls unless I'm running, but I play a lot of armies that flat run X amount or, minimum D3 or whatever of running.
Right.
But yeah, Crossfire leaving really like soured my love for GSC, and I did not care for them being like more regenerative than Necrons. I don't really care for that playstyle. I liked them showing up hidden. Like I loved the blips, and I loved having them all die. But like Genestealer cults were so fun to me to just win with me being tabled, and it felt good for my opponent too. Like my opponent enjoys blowing up my shit. Like there's nobody who dislikes that. And me still, squeaking out a win or winning fairly big just because, I flooded the board or I took really like careful, meticulous movements with certain models. I mean, the dirt bikes were the best. The last edition dirt bikes were so fun for me because they just hauled ass. They did a little bit of damage with like the mines and nothing else, but like just tying things up and getting in the way and move blocking and stealing objectives from people or flipping objectives is just like, it was really fun. And Crossfire using them for Crossfire was my favorite because like they're so fast. You can get around the side and then you can get the Crossfire lineups with like the tanks. I love the Rock Grinder. Being one of the few vehicles with wheels that were good at melee was like fun to have.
Oh no, I am in 100% agreement with your position. It's like they took a Sun Tzu Art of War, Way of the Blade kind of army, an army that required tactics and punished you for misplaying, and then turned it into like a Skaven and 40k.
Yeah. Actually, that would have been like it would have been nicer for if they just made the Crossfire. Now, what I'm hoping is that out of their, I think it's 5 detachments, one of them brings back a Crossfire detachment, and then I'll be very happy because then I'll just play that. But just having the Day of Ascension detachment, where like, on a dice roll you get the whole unit back and you set them up wherever. That's not my favorite. I don't want that as my playstyle. I didn't buy them to be like this. I don't know, like
right? Like
like just this recursion army, or like undead, like zombies, like respawning zombies. Necrons is like the only like correlation I have for like 40k, because like they just have more recursion than Necrons, because you're getting whole units back rather than prior to nerfs and prior to changes, like D3 here, D3 there, 2 D3 here, a D3 here. You're just getting the whole unit back. Like all 20 neophytes back, all 10 aberrants back, all 8 and 2 jackals back. Like, and yeah. It's not my jam.
Yeah, well, I think that's a marker of your good tastes, to be honest. I'll just speak plainly. I think, like, honestly, like, I think it's fair to say, like, Genestealer Cults as a high skill floor army is more satisfying to play with than a inbuilt recursion wave after wave army. Like an army that required you to meticulously plan, like the Genestealer Cults are supposed to. And you don't have the best guys out there, the best fighters. You're all right, but you have the tools to pop up where you want to be to score, or to play to the secondaries, play to the primary where you can, do some tricksy shenanigans. She's
running all right. That's all we need to do.
That's a bonus.
Yeah, that was the bonus. I mean, the day, like, the first time I played Ohms, and he's like, what the fuck is an industrial weapon? I had to explain to him what an industrial weapon is. That's hilarious. That's so fun. I'm like, oh, it's like lead pipes and dirt and dynamite, like, in the 41st millennium.
There is
the only thing I miss
charm to that, for sure.
Yeah, and the only thing I was missing is, like, hockey sticks with chainsaws at the end of them, like, and then we're perfect. It's like the perfect army. Who would have thought? Just looking at some of the comments, like Codex Stardust, like, I don't know if GSC need like a heavy weapons unit, like maybe like a Devastator kind of equivalent, because you can kind of take Imperial Guard and take their like heavy weapons, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Honest question, and I guess question for the chat as well. Does every army need to have the same tools as every other army?
I don't think so. I think they need to have...
It was a trick question. I think the answer is no. I think the answer is definitely no. I think it's more
Yeah.
interesting when armies are different, right? I don't know. Is that
Yeah.
too
Like
bold to
like
say?
playstyles really come into play with every army because no, like the mark of a book that is not the same as another is when it comes down to its playstyle. Like I've been playing Votan for the last couple of weeks, and they do not fit my playstyle. I like them. I like the models. I like, fantasy dwarfs, and I like these like sci-fi dwarfs. I love the tanks. The tanks are neat. However, there's like two really big glaring weaknesses for Votan. One of them is they're reliant on, forward deep striking and scouting, which can be easily denied by certain armies. And the other is they're so fucking slow. Like they're the slowest army I've ever played next to like Death Guard. Their tanks are semi fast. Not really though, but it's just one tank that's fast. The land fortress moves 10. That's okay, but in certain map layouts, it's basically next to impossible to get around angles, especially with a savvy opponent. Which I play army. He's a savvy opponent. And then the bikes move fairly fast as well, and they're so important to the rest of the game plan that you do not want to expose them. They like the bikes, the pioneers are like my ticket to even having a chance to win. I need them to take objectives, go off the board, deny certain locations, push people out, threaten a little bit of shooting, because they do have a lot of basically autocannon shots, but it's AP1 and everything gets cover, so it's basically AP0.
Yes, such is the curse of the autocannon in this edition, man.
It's terrible. It's so terrible. It's really, really frustrating. So going back to it, I like Votan, how they look. I like their models, but they suck for my playstyle. I'm hoping that a detachment kind of alleviates that. Maybe speeds them up. Well, I'm hoping. But we'll wait and see.
It'll at least give you variety. Like, you can count on that. I think that's a safe bet.
And then I love Eldar, and Eldar are fast, and they do fit my playstyle. Eldar, certain types of Tyranid builds, and GSC for that matter, all are fast armies, and I like that kind of mobility because I just said my favorite phase of the game is the movement phase. I don't particularly care for anything else.
It's certainly the most interesting phase. I mean, fight phase gets a lot of love because there's movement involved, to be honest. I honestly think that's why fight phase gets so much love.
Yeah.
Yeah, there needs to be more movement. The funnest part is moving models around, It's and placing models, that's fun.
Yeah, unless you run 120 boys and then your back hurts.
Oh yeah, that's when you learn to hate what you love.
Yeah, I have a hard time moving like the number of like Tyranid models that I bring because I like bringing Gribbly models. So it's like, it's not my favorite to move all of those.
The game should be completely redesigned to incorporate movement trays because while movement is fun, it's not fun to. You know what? Maybe I'm flip-flopping. Maybe I'm flip-flopping my position in real time.
Looking at the chat, Pyro's got a rumor talking about Chaos Demons potentially going into their respective Chaos Marine Codex. And what do we think? How do we feel?
I don't like it.
Hold on. Age of Sigmar does this.
I know. I know where you're going.
Wait.
With this.
So if you're a Khorne Demon player, you have to buy Leader's Codex?
Well, okay, so
it'd be a Khorne Codex. It'd be like that.
It'd be a Khorne Codex. There's a rumor. I'm assuming this is a rumor, unless Pyro works at Games Workshop. So in Age of Sigmar, and I have very limited knowledge to Age of Sigmar, so anybody in the chat can correct me, but they have, the Khorne Bloodbound, which is Khorne Mortals, Khorne Demons, all in one. They have the Nurgle, whatever the fuck they're called, together. The Slaanesh guys together. The Tzeentch guys together. And then in Age of Sigmar, they have a more free-flowing ally matrix that is not super egregious, but it can be. I don't particularly mind this. However, they can't do it now. This would have to be next edition, like 11th edition, because the books are out. Like there are like books that are already, or actually are there?
I don't think so.
None of the special.
No, you're right. I thought I'm misremembering last edition. I thought Death Guard were already out. Because like remember when Death Guard got like wedged in with I think it was like Blood Angels last edition. Like it was just like Blood Angels Death Guard or like Dark Angels Death Guard. So it might happen. It might happen this edition. Like prior to demons showing up, because remember how we were talking about what is the demons detachments going to be? Because it'd be awkward, right? The book would literally just be 5. It would be an unbound one, and then one for each respective god.
Still more than Tau.
Yeah.
Still more than Tau.
No, I feel what you're putting down, man. It's it makes sense. Okay, it makes sense. Like I am annoyed with how GW wants to separate these Chaos Space Marine legions and turn them into look at a Chaos Alliance. It's like 5 Marine Trader legions and then 1 Trader Marine book. And it just makes Chaos feel small.
Yeah, it would flesh out the books that I make fun of a lot, like the Codex fucking 8-bound. Like just like the so few data entries in a book. It would flesh them out more. It would help with that, but then you start looking at like, well, what if I want to I guess the ally matrix is in place for this, right? Because like, how does the chaos ally stuff work now? It's like 500 points of something, and you got to take an HQ and a troop.
It's a certain percentage of. I don't know exactly. I was playing with some lists while I was doing that list build over the weekend, and I was noticing like there's some limitations around even pulling Khorne Berserkers into your Chaos Space Marines lists. Right? There's a percentage cap on those as well. I'm not sure if it stacks or if it shares the budget of the demons, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That is, unfortunately, I do not have the insight for that.
So Pyro makes like the thing that I fucking complained about for World Eaters is you have a Khorne Juggernaut Lord who cannot lead anything but guys who are running on foot. And at least then they would be able to, well, this is me speculating, but then they would have Blood Crushers in the army, and then you could lead Blood Crushers with your Khorne guy on a Juggernaut.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Or dogs. What if it's like a bunch, like he's leading like a bunch of Fleshhounds? That's pretty neat.
Look, it can work. And you know what? It's fine. The World Eaters and the Thousand Suns, they can all intermingle and party with their demons. You see it in the artwork all the time. It's fine. As long as there's a way for demon players to still... If you were a guy who only played demons and collected all 4 gods because you wanted to have the big chaos soup of demons, right?
Yeah.
As
so
long as it's not now removed and you're just punished for everything you've bought into.
You just reminded me of what I was trying to get at before, because I get distracted easily. In Age of Sigmar, their allying matrix is a lot more lenient. If you're not, the way I understand it, and again, if somebody is more of an Age of Sigmar player, correct me, but the way I understand it is you have like a detachment, and that detachment gives you your detachment rules, and that kind of fixes you into place. But then you can go a grand alliance. You can do the more broader like kind of detachment where you can have just everything, but you lose out on some rules. They could still function that way, like a Be'lakor leading just a bunch of stuff. See, the rumor for this would have been like a lot more believable if, let's say, Be'lakor was in the Chaos Space Marine book. Like if Be'lakor was in that book, then I would have been like, yeah, this is happening. This is 100% happening. Because then it's like you can take Be'lakor and then they can kind of like mix and match that way to like bring in to like Chaos Space Marines. But now Be'lakor is like the oddball out because he's like, where does he go? Like you put everything else into their own individual books, like Nurgle with Death Guard, Slaanesh with future Emperor's Children, etc., etc. Where does Be'lakor go? And he's like, for one, a beautiful model, but for two, like a pretty key character, like a pretty focal character to like both the lore, competitive scene, just everything. He is like the demon lord, right? Like if Abaddon is for Chaos Space Marines, Be'lakor is for demons.
Yeah. I hate it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so I don't know. Hear me out. Hear me out in this sense. If they did a more tasteful way of making a free-flowing allied matrix strictly for only chaos in the case of demons, would that be more sensible to you? Would you prefer that a little more if you could just kind of...
You know what? Honestly, I think I think so. I think if the Chaos Alliance was... Because right now, what's the Chaos Alliance? Chaos Space Marines, which is a weird-ass book, let's be honest. It's got half Renegades and Lost in the Damned, and it's got Vashtor in there. Like, it really feels like a hodgepodge kind of stew that's been, like... Yeah. Just things have been thrown in there that don't have anywhere else to go. Then you have 3 Special Snowflake Marines, right? Which I'm just like, roll my eyes, whatever. And then you have Chaos Demons, right? Yeah, Knights.
Yeah.
Yeah, Knights, Demons, and Special Marines, and then regular Marines. But,
yeah,
like, it feels so small. But if you separate all the demons and put them with their respective traitor legions and say that this is Codex Khorne Bloodbound or Nurgle Plaguekin or whatever they call it, I think it does make the Chaos Alliance feel less... It takes away, like, the grosser taste that I kind of, like, apply when I call those World Eaters and Thousand Sun Special Snowflakes, right? Because now at least there's a bit of more justification in separating them from the original legions now. Because now you're turning them into something else, which is, I think, the idea with separating them, but I think forcing the demon data sheets in their books justifies... I think it tastes better. I think that's a simple way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, like Icarus in the chat kind of echoes what you're saying. Like, he actually says exactly what you're saying. He hates the fact that Chaos as a super faction only has three factions, just like what you listed: Chaos Knights, Demons, and Assorted Space Marines. And possibly in the future, Chaos Admech, Dark Mechanicum.
I absolutely want Dark Mechanicum so fucking bad over Emperor's Children. Hot take, like.
How dare you?
I want more variety in Chaos.
You play Slaanesh demons.
I don't want to play Emperor's Children. I like my demons. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that I'm in the minority on that one probably, but I just want more variety in Chaos. Like, I'd love Space Skaven too. Whenever I see Moridian tanks shit on Instagram, calling it shit sounds rude. It's like amazing STLs and amazing sculpts, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I see his Space Skaven, I'm just like, oh god. If only we lived in that timeline.
Yeah, I think I would prefer a newer faction that's not just like another Chaos version of Imperium stuff.
It's just like kind of the easy route to go, and also there's not a lot more like design space for like anything, extra for Chaos, unless you want to start going down like Chaos Xenos stuff, like Chaos orcs. Chaos Tau.
Well, like
Corn
Space
Tau.
Skaven are what you're describing. They are space Xenos, right? Wouldn't they be?
Yeah, they would be considered as Xenos,
like
but
a chaos
they,
adjacent
they're
Xenos.
especially like with the lore for Age of Sigmar right now, like they could be like a weird transcending the other way, like because you know how like demons were also in like Age of Sigmar, which is also in like old fantasy. Skaven could go the other way because in Age of Sigmar lore, they like chew through reality or whatever and like make these little holes and shit, and then they
yeah, they breach.
like and they breach, right?
Yeah.
So like imagine like, oh, the Skaven have breached the 41st millennium. Here you go.
Hey, if it works, right? I'm down.
Look, man. I play rock dwarves or rock like clones of dwarves that worship a space like AI. Like anything's possible.
Yeah, I am not against Skaven in 40k. It can be tasteful. I'm convinced.
Yeah, but like other than let's say that per se, there isn't really like more design space for like other chaos stuff. Because chaos,
make up something new though.
they could, but I mean that they could be really creative, I guess, and figure something out. But I just don't know what it would be.
I think you have
like chaos.
Dark Mechanicum. Like if you do Dark Mechanicum, and then we'll put Space Skaven on the side because I know it's a super big stretch. Okay, put Dark Mechanicum. You make that, and then you do like I don't know five upgrade sprues for guard, so that you can make like a decent renegade guard range. I don't know if that's
Trader
enough.
guard, yeah.
Trader guard, yeah. And then I think chaos begins to feel a bit more robust, a bit more well-rounded.
Rotund.
Rotund, a bit more rotund, if you will, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be great.
That's all I require.
But again, like Tavish is saying, it just is always a mirror. It's always just a mirror of quote-unquote Imperium.
Yeah, you need to really push the Dark Mechanic.
Demons are like...
feel like the existing models with spikes. Because that works for Renegade Guard, because they're not that into the sauce as the Marines would be. You know what I mean? It's like the difference between a Renegade chapter, right? Versus a Trader Legion. Yeah,
like demons are really the only thing that are like... There is no mirror to them. Like they are the prime like mordial like source. That is what they are, what they look like or whatever. And then everything else is just a spiky mirror of what exists on the Imperium side. And so like I was saying before, the design space, they would have to come up with something very unique. But what that is, I don't know. I'd like to see as much as like adding more stuff to the game, to there are like a bunch of like things. Like if you've read a couple of like the 30k books, there's the Interrex. They're like the weird like human like offshoot that like Horus finds in the first Horus book.
Horus Rising, yeah.
Yeah, and Horus Rising. And they have like very unique like described design. Like they turn into like horsemen, like Sagittars. They have like alien like proxies that work with them. Like that's like an option that they could do. There's the Enslavers. They're another species. They're super like weird and dark and stuff like that. Like they I'm gonna butcher this because it's been a long time, but I remember they latch onto psychers and then create a portal out of the psychers' entire being, and then more of them start flooding in. Like that's like a potential option. Hrud was mentioned in the chat by James Mackin. And Hrud have been around for a long time. I mean, there's been Space Marine chapters that have been destroyed by the Hrud. Like Star Phantoms almost their planet got destroyed. And they have a unique design too. They look like Jawas, but like they're also like mentioned to be similar to like Skaven. Jawas from like Star Wars, and
those like the what are they? Teddy bear kind of guys?
No, Jawas are like the little like black mages from Final Fantasy, like
Yeah.
just like
They're the ones who
Oh,
send
I
the
see.
little
Yeah.
yeah.
They're like the scrap yard
Yeah.
people.
And their guns are really unique. They give me a Necron vibe of the past, like where Necrons like deatomize. Hrud aged people. They made them age quicker. So they could be a neat design space. But going back to it, I don't think 40K should get more factions because GW has a shit time keeping track of everything. Look at how codexes have come. The first few codexes, dog water, fucking garbage in game wise, and some of the lore is kind of hit or miss for some people. But like, talking about the game aspect, if you start adding more factions in, you're just gonna like muddy the water and dilute everything.
Yeah,
because
you're really speaking to something true here. So sorry to cut you off. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. And yeah, you look at those first couple of codexes that come out, and they're like, oh, Space Marines are okay, but man, Tyranids are like, some people like it, some people hate it. Then you see, oh, fucking Dark Angels, what the fuck? Oh, Admech, what the fuck? Oh, Necrons are okay. Like, you get these like real misses for factions where I'd rather they like put more resources into really tightening up, rules for their books. Then you can expand, because like now they're just like, oh, we gotta put another thing out. We gotta make more money than last year. Fiscal period is coming up. We gotta get more money. And I'd rather. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but the problem with getting caught up on the rules is once they do that, then they just start a new edition.
Which
the whole paradigm is fucked for what I'm advocating for. Like, I'm out here saying, oh, let's get Space Skaven. But Melon's right. The whole paradigm is such that, like, you're just in a rule cycle of selling booklets, right? And then it's time for the next round of selling booklets. So if there's no effort in managing and doing things correctly, then why muddy the water, as you kind of described it? I think that's fair.
Yeah, like, I would love longer stretches of an edition. I grew up with, like, 3rd to 4th edition, 4th to 5th edition, taking years and no updates. Like, it was like the Dark Ages where there's no like fucking internet or anything. So like fucking 5th edition Grey Knights were 5th edition Grey Knights all the way through, and they were bent. They were so good. They are still paying for their sins from those years. Like, I want them. We're in a day and age where like the technical difficulties of the past are gone, and they can make a game that is efficient and really tight with their rules and still produce some of the best looking models in the world, that I'm willing to shell out all the money I make from working 58 hours in 4 days, right? Like, I love spending money on this game, but it's just the rules are getting like stretched thin. You get some books that are really good, you get some books that are custodies, and it's just really fucking like painful to watch. And I just want them to be a little tighter. And then the best edition that I've kind of like felt really like exemplified that is I think Arcs of Omen stuff. Like it drew it out longer. We got some campaign books with some characters. Right. Like, that kind of stuff is perfect. Get your books out, get everything nice and done. Don't have like Imperial Guard and World Eaters at the very fucking end, where like those people get to have a book for 6 months and then it's a new edition. Like, let them play it and then put campaign books or your tournament books or whatever, because they love books, right? They love to just kill trees and make these fucking books.
They love books. Why is it so funny to me?
They just love making fucking books all the time and then selling it to us. And if you're a tournament goer, like anybody, you have to have them. There's very few tournaments that are like, you can bring the fucking thing on your phone. Like, no, you got to have the physical book. You got to bring the book. You got to bring the book for your Codex. You got to bring the book for your whatever. And then that's more shit you got to buy. More stuff that you have to put into the war machine. And it's not great for us. I hate it. but it is what it is. But having those little like campaign books, and yes, we're going backwards that, we were trying to avoid book bloat, but honestly, I would rather have someone keep their book, especially the last couple of codexes. Like, I don't know. At this point, I hope Eldar is last because their detachment's pretty good up until like whenever they get their book.
Mm-hmm.
But like, could you imagine if someone like struggling? Well, for one, AdMech has their book now, and they're going to struggle right up until the end. But let's look at, I don't know, like one of the Knights, right? Like Chaos Knights or Imperial Knights. Well, what if their book is last? Like, what if both of their books are dead last, then they get it
bad,
for...
Man. You hope you get an 8th edition Psychic Awakening campaign. Well, you don't even need to have power creep, but I think that's built into their book-selling philosophy, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
Here's look at this campaign book. It has your guy on the cover. That means you gotta buy it and get more powerful, right?
It's true.
Definitely feels like that's the mindset.
Remember when Caesarus came out for Necron in that last book? Like, Doc bought it, and he's like, I don't even know what his rules are because the fucking game edition is over.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, that's a feel bad. Oh,
yeah, and even with Ohms with World Eaters or fucking anybody, like Biggies with Guard, like they didn't get him for very long, and it's sad. Like, I don't even play these fucking armies. Like, these guys, like Ohms was waiting for World Eaters forever. Like, he loved them for a long time. Like, that's his jam, right? And he got to play that last edition for... No, I don't even think he played it because like he didn't have everything built and ready to go.
He played it once unpainted, and then he's like never again because he's like, well, the writing's on the wall here. This is going away. I don't want to.
Yeah, there's no point in having that like brain power go into that, right?
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah, but I would like, honestly, if the rumor is that like demons go into Chaos Space Marines, I'm a Grey Knight player. I would actually want Agents of Imperium to just be this culmination of stuff that you can ally in or whatever. I'm okay with that. And then after their debacle with Custodes, I actually am like very much like just stick them in like revamp your ally matrix. Revamp how and make sure they focus on potential loopholes and like synergies for allies and make them that, because they can't focus anymore. They can't focus on this many armies in 40k.
Not with the model they have now. Like the whole paradigm.
No,
just
and
fucked.
I would rather things get tightened up so that they are homogenized not linear. They'll be more broad, but like more homogenized books for X-God, more homogenized books for agents, more for fucking whatever. Like even, I don't know, fucking put Knights in Chaos Space Marines. Like, in 11th edition, just put Chaos Knights in Chaos Space Marines. Like,
everything else is there.
But hear me out. I know I'm like semi-joking, but like, fucking, it would give Vashtor something to do. Like, Vashtor, yeah, he can lead fucking Forge Fiends and Venom Crawlers, but who gives a shit? Like, just put them all together. Like, at this point, because, you know why I want this? Because we're going back to 3.5 fucking Chaos, okay? 3.5 fucking Chaos Space Marine book will be back in business if this happens. If this shit goes the way it is, we're back. We're back a dinosaur story.
It's come full circle.
And that's all I want. That's what I want. It would be perfect.
That's a noble ask. 3.5 Chaos Space Marines is the GOAT. I get it. They had word bearers rules in there. It was really cool.
They did have word bearers rules. They had awesome Iron Warriors rules. They had amazing Night Lord rules.
It was a different era of rules writing where they weren't afraid to like incentivize you to not buy their product or be creative with their products. Like, for example, Tavish, the popular example is Iron Warriors being able to take a Basilisk, and then you're encouraged to convert it so that, you know, it looks appropriate for the Astartes, or you take the Forge World Heresy variant, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Very
back
cool.
in the day when you picked it, it was very thematic to the faction. Like Iron Warriors, like Kiefer was saying, um, you could take a basilisk. It wasn't in the book. You had to convert it. The other thing was detachments back in the day were you had to have an HQ, and I think it capped at 2 HQs back in third edition. You could only take 3 elites, 3 heavies, 3 fast attack, kind of like the detachments in was it eighth edition? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then however many troops. I think it was 6 like before. But Iron Warriors were unique. They got a 4th heavy support. And they got fancy obliterators. Obliterators back then were much different than what they are now. It was awesome. Night Lords were the only ones with like fancy raptors and really good jump pack lords with like the awesome old Lightning Claw Chaos Lord. Like they had such good rules. What else was there? Noise Marines. Cacophonic Choir from the Demon Prince spell list was so strong. So good, so strong. Lash of Submission was another one. It was so unique. Lash of Submission was a Slaanesh spell that you could pull models and move them in a direction that you want. After you cast it, you could move them around. And if you remember in the past, there were templates. So templates, you stack them all into one little pile, and then things like obliterators would put 6 plasma cannon shots into that one little spot. Those are the types of examples of like the unique synergies of like the spell casting and all shit like that. It was just that was just one powerful tool. But for Slaanesh, you had to play like a Slaanesh kind of keyword for that, or like playstyle. Khorne had the Juggernaut Lord back then, and he was like just a beat stick. He could run through tanks. Like he was he was also a brick. I remember my buddy growing up bought that old Juggernaut Lord that was just a literal, it was like 4 pieces, and if you whipped that at somebody, you'd murder them. It was just a solid massive pewter. Like it was dangerous. But yeah, I just want everything to go back to like back in the day. Like even demonic stuff in 3. Because 3.5 had demons. Summoning a greater demon, you had to sacrifice a model. The model had to die, and then you would summon the greater demon. The greater demon came out of your aspiring champions. Like that's right out of the fluff.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And you got this thing, this whatever it was, because if I remember right, it was just greater demon, and they were all in like a similar vein, and then you picked your mark. If I remember right, it's been a long time. And that kind of defined what it was. Nurgle got more toughness or whatever it was. Khorne got more attacks. Slaanesh got initiative, higher initiative. So they always like struck first. Zinch got psychic abilities, and you would kind of build a bear this greater demon. It would come out of an aspiring champion, and it would be right there. It would be right next to your unit, because it came out of the guy that fucking exploded into bits.
Yeah.
And it was sick. It was so good. It was so fluffy. So if we put everything back into those books, maybe we'll get there one day. But right now, like the chaos book is okay. Well, it's not okay. It's good. It just has like some misses. Like obviously, it didn't hit that word bearer's kind of like design space that you wanted, and I understand that. It's just fucking like the pack bound stuff, like or the Slaves to Darkness. Like it's not rewarding you for being like demon keyword stuff. Like
Slaves to Darkness is 100% like a renegade. It's like it's the like as I demonstrated in the video. It's the basic detachment. Like
yeah,
it's the basic shared rule set available to the Chaos Space Marines from 8th and 9th edition. Right, like Talisman of Burning Blood is your signature enhancement, and it's like, everyone's used that before. That's not word bearers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's sad that like things like the Night Lords got in my opinion, very fluffy thematic design for their enhancements, their stratagems, the units that it focuses around. All of those things are very fluffy. Iron Warrior is like less so. Like the Iron Warriors are just like their like detachment is more we're tough.
Yeah, you have a few like references here and there to their old stratagems, and shooting in melee or shooting while in engagement range. You have that kind of stuff going on for them, and it's not the most fluffy. Like I feel like though, I don't know. It's probably Iron Warriors, Black Legion, Alpha Legion, and Night Lords in terms of like flavor.
Yeah,
authenticity.
I wish Vashtor wasn't there, or like he got his own. I honestly, the Iron Warriors one would have been more leaning towards what like if you combine them a little bit, like not
100% agree.
Yeah, like not totally, but yeah, you take the Demon Engine stuff and like the toughness of the Iron Warriors, and like that's the Iron Warriors one, and then have Vashtor like go the fuck over there.
Well, part of me feels like some of the Iron Warrior stuff and some of the Word Bearer stuff was taken and given to, at least the spirit of their mechanics were given to the Vashtor detachment.
Yeah.
And then
I'd say so.
That applies to the Word Bearers as well, some of the cultist mechanics as well. Which is, they're not rude about it, but it's not ideal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Icarus says the same thing I'm thinking. He is in the wrong book. Like, I think that he should have been like, you know what? Like, fine, fucking stick him in there. I like how he looks. I like that he's this weird fucking like trying to be a greater demon or not greater demon, like a god or whatever. Like it's a cool story. He's like this.
It's a curved
kind of like
right. Like you don't.
Yeah, he's like slightly more agreeable Bellicor, right? Like he's like, I'm gonna help you because I'm a robot guy or something. I don't fucking know. But he should be in the Mechanicum book. Like he should be the big boss of like the Mechanicum. The Dark Mechanicum. But obviously timing is terrible for GW and they can't do sort of things like this. But yeah, he just doesn't belong. Like I wish he was somewhere else because now he's kind of like taking some design space away from what traditional Iron Warriors would be. And then regular like current Iron Warriors are just like, we're the tough guys. We're the thick boys. So I don't particularly like that. Alpha Legion got probably the most fluffy stuff. Can we agree with that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily love like infiltrating as their detachment rule, but it's adequate. Like it's an accurate representation of their themes, right? It's just a personal gripe, but I don't think it's in poor taste. And the back end tools for their detachments, Mundo good. I really like them.
Yeah, I'm just glad they weren't, insert Vanguard Space Marines.
Oh yeah, their trait isn't just we're a -1 to hit when outside of 12 inches.
Honestly, if I had to deal with -1 to hit again, I would have puked. I would have been like, I'm done. I don't want to play army anymore. Like he stay over there. I'm done. You have your -1 to hit and push me out 12 inches and do whatever. Like you stay over there. I don't want to play it. I'm tired of this shit.
-1.
It's
how exciting! It's so boring to me.
Yeah.
But it's just a novelty thing. We've been overexposed to hit modifying army rules.
I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of both ends of the spectrum.
It's not very interesting, and it's also like give me something else. And I'm glad. So, in that respect, I'm glad how they opted for the infiltrating heavy detachment rule for Alpha Legion. It is more interesting, right? For what it's worth.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? The Black Legion one's okay. I guess it's honestly, it's actually a bad thing that they have oaths of moment. Not because, well, it's bad design wise because oaths of moment is giving you full rerolls to hit on that one thing, and Dark Pack gives you two disgusting things that really benefit from full rerolls.
Oh yeah, they're better at making their oaths apparently.
They're better at making their oaths and just destroying whatever the fuck it is that they look at, which I guess is fluffy for like a Black Legion centric like fuck you rush.
Look, it
play
works.
Style.
It works. It's just it's not the most. It doesn't spark the most joy, right? I think that's fair to say for Black Legion's attachment rule.
Yeah.
Perfectly
And then
feasible.
yeah, Packbound is just boring.
Look, it's a good rule set. I never said it's bad. Right? It's very effective. A lot of good stratagems in there, but
I just don't like the rehash of the index. I just don't. I'd rather them explore something else.
oh, like just get rid of that attachment and replace it with something else.
Or leave it and then give us something else new, right? Like, I mean,
Well, from their perspective, they did, right? They gave like seven other.
Yeah,
rules.
but why not 8 other?
Oh
So
yeah,
then 9.
yeah. Well, yeah. From the word bearer's complaining point of view, I agree. Why do we have to have 8? Oh, because 8's for chaos. That's
Only
why.
one. Only one guy. Well, because the 8-pointed star. And,
Yeah, that's why. That's exactly why.
Oh my god, that's abysmal.
Why else did they stop? Jeez.
My god, then whatever. Fuck.
I can only assume, right?
Yeah. I know it's just like
Just cringe
a
because I feel
mildly.
like, why'd you do me like this? Because you
Yeah.
can only have 8 detachments, and one had to go to Vashtor, and one had to go to Cultist, and I guess Slaves to Darkness isn't Renegade Marines valuable for whatever reason. So we'll give that to Word Bearers. Sick.
I feel like the Renegade Marine detachment should not exist because it's so good. It's so fucking strong.
Look, if I had my way,
Holy
if
fuck.
I had the remote from that Adam Sandler movie and I could just make things.
Oh
that I
yeah.
wanted, I'd
Fucking go
get
back.
rid of that Renegade attachment and insert a Word Bearers one because I feel like
Rewind.
Slaves to Darkness works perfectly fine for a Renegade warband.
I love Huron Blackheart. Like I like him a lot. Like
I'm sure he's a cool guy. All right, I'm sure he's a cool guy.
But he does not make his detachment good. he's good, but his detachment is good just solely from 2 pieces of text saying your entire army has assault and they get +1 AP against things they attack on an objective.
Oh, it is very good.
I don't know if the chat realizes this, but the way you win the game is by taking objectives. So killing the thing that sat on said objective is like rule number 1 for winning the game. Winning the video game that way. They clearly didn't fucking test that. They like that was like, I don't know, somebody's fever dream, and they just like Mike Brandt just wrote that down and he's like, oh, that's perfect. Perfect thing. Because yeah, assault is, unless these next set of cards that come out really change how like the whole action dichotomy works, assault is the number 1 rule you want on your guns, like period. Like it is the thing that makes your army just do all of its objectives way better, because now you don't have to think. Like, do you want to go over in that corner and perform an action, but you're slightly out of range? Hey, go ahead and run. And then while you're at it, still potentially shoot. Like, depending on what type of gun it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Your heavy tank, your Predator, just needs to get 1 more inch around the corner. Go ahead and run. You're guaranteed to get that 1 inch, and then now you're around the corner. You got your angle. You can shoot. No big deal. Perfect. Oh, and by the way, you're going to shoot at that, I don't know, Gladiator Lancer that's sat on an objective that's in range. Go ahead and have +1 AP on your last cannons. Now they're AP 4, right? AP 3 normally?
Yeah.
I don't remember what a last cannon profile is.
It's 3.
Yeah, so now it's 4. So it's just it's very strong. And like I said, I like Huron. I own like the Badabor books. I liked him as the bad guy. He's very comic book villainy. He's very funny. He's super edgy, over the top. Like, I don't know. He's a very interesting bad guy character in a grimdark setting, and he's a pirate, and that's fun. And his detachment is really strong, and he's never had that before, so it's very interesting.
There's a lot of design similarities between that detachment rule and previous Black Legion rules, when you think about it.
True.
Have we seen a model
honestly?
for it?
No, it's a Finecast model, and I don't think they sell it anymore. I think it's gone.
Yeah, there's rumors that he's gonna get a new one.
If he does, that's awesome. I mean,
with what book though? What's coming? Like it would be with this Codex, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
Unless they do. Unless they do one. Well, the sad part is in that Codex they have his old derpy model in it.
Yeah.
Because they always have a picture of the model in the top of the page of the book, and
yeah,
it's still his dumb derpy model. So
some may call it charming.
Not me. I have a lot of old Grey Knight models.
Either. It's okay.
The only thing cute about his model is the Hamadria. That's about it.
Oh, his bird. He wants his bird.
Yeah, his little weird skinless like piece of chicken breast. Yeah, no. I mean, if he does get a model, that's great. He's a character that I get. Honestly, I'd rather him have a model than what's that raptor guy?
Harkin
World Claimer.
He's sick. He doesn't deserve all the hate he gets.
He's kind of dumb.
He's the closest thing to a Night Lord's character, all right?
He does what your detachment does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really should have been a Night Lord's character, but I think GW didn't have the bowels.
I think they should have smartened up and, I don't know, make any of the ADB Night Lord characters a character. Like, how many people have read those books? Like, the Night Lord trilogy is like, kind of like a Bible. Like, it's kind of like an important piece of fucking text. And, like, even if you don't play Night Lords, typically everybody likes the Night Lords trilogy. Like, I don't even play them and I like it. Like, it's the reason ADB is like got his like name out there. Like, it's that and like maybe Talon of Horus, but like I'd say the Night Lords trilogy is just better.
I haven't read Talon of Horus, but yeah, Night Lord trilogy is a good time.
There's a whole bunch of characters that like every quote unquote legion should have a character in my opinion, because
no one's gonna disagree with that.
No, I don't think so. Like, you have the option to create your own, your Build-A-Bear, like, Chaos Lord. It's shittier now, but, you know, you can have, you know, purchase your Chaos Lord, model them up, however, and give them a name, do whatever. That's fun. But having, like, a unique character that's based in the lore and, like, you can, you know, really, like, sink your teeth into it and, like, put a lot of love and effort into it, like the Abaddons, like, you know, the Huron Blackhearts, the whoever, right? The Fabius Biles. Fucking Fabulous Bill has a fucking brand new model, but like still Iron Warriors, Word Bearers, Night Lords, Alpha Legion still don't have anything. Having someone like a Hanso for Iron Warriors, like he's a fucking crazy character. Like he's and like what's his name? The Ultramarine guy. Like he has a model. You could duke it out. Like that's like their whole fucking shtick out of their fucking novel series. Have Erebus or Corphaeron come back. Have Corphaeron come back as a demon prince, like a unique fucking demon prince. Have
Corphaeron's back in Dark Imperium.
Is he?
He's not a demon prince, but he's not in Dark Imperium. Dawn of Fire.
Oh, okay.
He's a supporting character there, and he's not a demon prince. He's there. He exists.
You got to tell me all this because I didn't read it or listen to it.
He's the guy pulling the strings this whole time.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's one of those scenes.
Is he a fuck up though?
Well,
In the
from the
heresy?
point of view characters we have on the Chaos side for the Dawn of Fire series, Cor Theron's like highly respected. Basically, you know, he's one of the old veterans of the Long War. So powerful.
He's a senior.
Everyone has.
He's
like,
a senior
respect.
citizen.
Yeah. Like, you know.
But I thought in the heresy kind of gets branded as a fuck up. Doesn't like Lorgar send him to die?
I don't
Basically,
remember.
he's the
remember-
one who said to kill Gilliman, and then I don't think Lorgar actually expected him to succeed. He just sent them off to. I could be wrong.
While I really like No
Could be.
Fear, I can't remember those details of the book. Unfortunately. It's a shame, because those books are awesome. Big fan
Fake
of
you
that.
typing away. You fact checking?
No. So Steel Foil Hat was asking, is there any hope for new Mechanicum models are ever going to come to 40k? I guess he's talking about
We
the
can.
30K one.
I guess we can talk about what's in the thumbnail. I guess we can do.
Yeah,
that.
we haven't done that once. So the new AdMech for 30k. So these are all previously Forge World models. Some of them were discontinued, like the Trios, the train.
Oh,
It's
so
like a
good.
big, it's like a big choo-choo train tank. It's really big, like it's really really big. And like the Thalax, the what the fuck are these guys? The Secators. Well, so the Thanatar, like all these big robot models. These, for one, are awesome. These models were the reason I wanted to get into 30k AdMech, and I bought 40k AdMech at the time, back when it was Skitari and Cult Mechanicus. I wanted to do a big collection, and now that they're out in plastic, I'm hoping that they do what Steel Foil Hat is kind of asking or being curious about, that they move them over to 40k as well. Maybe give AdMech like a supplemental book, because there is room for that, like the Custodes. So the Custodes have Forge World support, like the Telemon, the Galadius, the Calidus grab tank or whatever. So there is room for that, and I hope that is the case. There was a book years and years ago that was a 30k campaign book that would also it was a 40k campaign book that was going to put 30k rules in for these models, these very specific models, called the Fires of Syraxis, but it never came out. They didn't make it, and it was very sad, because that means that like the Thanatar and the Castellax, the buzzsaw robots, the Ultarax, they're like these robots that have big power fists, like big punchy fists. They just look really silly, but they're neat. They have jump packs. The Trios, the big Sonic Graviton, super tank. All those were supposed to get 40k rules in that campaign book. But it never happened. So I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping, especially if sales for this are good, maybe they see that people vie for this shit. And because AdMech is hurting so bad, I feel very bad for people who play AdMech. That this would kind of shore up some weaknesses, right? Something like the Thanatar, this is going back from what I remember from 30k, what the Thanatar was. The Thanatar was like a dreadnought, like a walking, or it was just slightly smaller than a knight. It was big, but not bigger than a knight. And it had crazy firepower, very strong, very tough. That was the big thing about the Thanatar, was it was super, super tough. It had this reflective shielding that made it hard to wound. You couldn't punch through its armor very easily. And it was just this walking tank. And that would shore up a lot of weaknesses in AdMech that don't have a lot of staying power to be on either backfield or forward objectives. The Trios, being like a big Land Raider equivalent type of tank, would also shore up some weaknesses because the little World War II D-Day boats are not the toughest things in the world, and they're also not very good either. I just think like having that, that box or that 30K set of models go into 40K would actually make AdMech a little more tolerable. Their book would be huge. Like that'd be a ton of models. I mean, you'd have like these weird, like archaic sci-fi robots, along with like long boy, like tall boy, like stick leg boy in the background. Like it'd just be a more flexible book.
Yeah, I'm not in opposition to it. Similar to the Legends of the Horus Heresy, and like how Traitor Space Marines should obviously have access to such armaments. I would think the Mechanicum would as well, right? Especially if that's their modus operandi, like the preservation and the acquisition of old tech, right?
Yeah. Looking back, like Icarus saying Warhammer Twitter is mad about it. People are going to be mad about it. Anybody who gets mad at AdMech getting
mad about what?
Potential these models coming to 40K.
But why?
Like, great fucking question. Like, why is the fucking sky blue?
Yeah.
Like, it's anybody who would get mad at AdMech getting a little bit of a break here. Look, I didn't play AdMech in the last edition where they had like really strong aircrafts. I didn't play against them. But look, right now their book fucking blows. It's terrible.
I see. Icarus is saying Warhammer's Twitter was dismissive of the idea.
Oh, their Twitter. Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, so that's a big sad, in my opinion. I don't think the models look bad. I kind of dig the Mechanicum aesthetic.
It's honestly, like, I got rid of an AdMech army because the rest of the model range I didn't particularly jive with, and the playstyle is kind of too much for me. Like, too many guns with too many different rules kind of is really awful to memorize. Like a Skitarii rifle to like Vanguard's like weird radium carbine, like all these like different like APs and strengths and ranges and all that stuff is just too much mud for me. But I, just like my Votan, I like the look of 30K models. And so if they did come to 40K, I would play them. Our play group doesn't play 30K. I'm a bad person for saying I would love to play it, but none of us have time to fucking play this kind of shit. Like, there's too many game systems, right? Yeah,
it's too hard to play.
Too much. Like... I love 30K. Like, I love all the Horus Heresy stuff. I love the rules. I love the lore. I love the models. I love everything about it. But our play group is centered around 40K. I love old Warhammer Fantasy. I've said this multiple times on previous hobby calls that I'd love for us to play that. I would drop everything I do to play old fantasy. But it's not in the cards. Not everybody wants to play it.
Look, I'm down for a one-off at least. I'll say that.
Maybe on the channel.
A little spice, a little bit of variety. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me just see what's going on here. Let's do a how to play. I can promise that, right? It's too hard, to your point. Like, look how long it's taking me to paint these cultists, all right?
It's god-awful.
It's too hard to play too many game systems. It's just, get out.
Yeah, I mean, you have, like, a higher degree of standard than, the rest of us plebeians. But, like, I just spit on my models and they're done.
Stop it. You're being too hard on yourself.
Tavish has been working on the same 3 orcs for the last, 6 weeks.
Exactly.
3? Try 1.
You sure showed him.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
It's not just a boy, to be fair.
It's more than a boy. It's a man.
It's a man, yeah.
Yeah, fuck, man. I would love to, for one, never have to work again. So I could dedicate all my time to playing with little toy soldiers all the time. But it's just hard, right? Our time is so limited, and we have to be very choosy of our games that we play, because our play group is quite large for in retrospect to most other groups. Like, we have a lot of people that play, but they're very 40k focused. Very few of them are willing to branch outside of that.
Yeah.
And when they do,
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that we have a few people who are into Age of Sigmar and riding the wave there, but it's just I struggle to imagine how one keeps up with multiple gaming systems, even if you had just one army in each. It's like too many things are happening too quickly. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there. I guess.
Yeah.
Seems too difficult. It's like you just finished painting Leviathan and then Age of Sigmar 4 comes out. You know what I mean? It's like this kind of situation.
Yeah, if fucking kudos to people that can play all of them, or have a group that can oh, this week we're playing Age of Sigmar, next week we're playing 40k, next week we're playing Old World. Oh, after that we've got a Blood Bowl League. After that, oh, we're going back to Mordheim. Kudos to people like that. I would love to do that. I truly would. I also have crippling hobby ADHD. I worked on Votan, then I stopped to work on Necrons, and then I've been eyeing up my Eldar for the last little while, just to chip away at other models that I don't typically play. And I would just love to be able to focus on one thing, be done everything, and then move to the next thing that's a different system, right? But it's hard for me. Trust me, I've preached it multiple times. I'd sell all my models to just play orcs. I'd sell everything. I have probably 20 grand worth of fucking stupid plastic toys in this fucking house, and I would get rid of all of it just to play orcs and just be an orc stan. But then I'd be sad, because then it's oh, my Tyranid Hierophant is gone now, or all of my Barbed Herodulls are gone, or oh, my 400 gaunts of assorted sizes and shapes are gone. It's just shit like that. They're just it'd be sad.
Yeah, variety is a spice of life, so I understand how you feel.
Yeah. And I get crazy hobby ideas and I write them down, but then sometimes they don't come to fruition. Some of them are expensive. I've talked to you multiple times about a Skaven Admech army, or a Necron Lizardman army, or whatever, right? Just these weird amalgamations of two different armies together to make one army. I would like to do it. It's expensive.
It's certainly a passion project, right? But the joy it would spark. Oh, tell you what, I'd give you some compliments.
Yeah, you'd give me a thumbs up on my Instagram?
Yeah, every time.
Oh, sick. Yeah, Margaret here says sell 10k and go forward from there. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to even think about I don't know, what if you know what, maybe if playstyles, like I said it before with Admech, I had Admech, I played them for when did they come out? It was either 6th or 7th edition I bought them, and I bought into it for purely competitive reasons, to eventually go with the 30k models that we have now in plastic. I was going to buy a bunch of Forge World stuff. I'm not accustomed to just picking up random Forge World models here and there. But Admech stuff, I was okay, I'm going to play the competitive Cult Mechanicus / Skitarii army that was rolling around in like 6th or 7th edition, where you got like a free Imperial Knight. It was like super busted. You could like kind of just
You say those rules so casually, and every
Buddy,
time I hear it, I'm like, just a free Imperial Knight.
Just a free Imperial Knight. Now, keep in mind, it's not like the big Dominus.
Like, I know, but still, it's a Lord of War,
but
or it was at the time, I'm sure.
The rules for that, I say it was a free Imperial Knight, but it technically not. It's so the rules for that old detachment, I forget what the name of it was if you took one of each of the Cult Mechanicus and the Skitarii faction models, you had to take one of each, and they were limited compared to what we have now. But it was like one Dune Crawler, one Dragoon, one unit of Skitarii, one unit of Ranger, so on and so forth, one of each. Then you got free war gear for everything. Now, with the amount of war gear that you got free for everything, it equaled a 425-point Imperial Knight. So I say I get a free knight, but it was actually the equivalent of free war gear. That was the army. And I played that for the competitive season when it was ITC, but like it was what the fuck was it? I think it was just ITC. I can't even remember. But I used to go like around the GTA, like go to Barrie, go to Vaughan, go to Toronto, all that shit. I went out to Ottawa once for Capital City, and it was a boring playstyle. It's a sucky playstyle because I didn't like it, but I played it because it was competitive. And I got rid of them because I didn't like the playstyle. I didn't like keeping track of all the different ranges and rules. Didn't really care to have a knight. I don't particularly like Imperial Knights, but I had a bunch at the time. So.
Yeah,
same kind of thing.
A weird identity in terms of their mechanics. Funnily enough, right? Like it's like a buff. It's like a casting, like a wizard casting with support spells, right? Just buffing up and tuning up all your different attributes. I just don't know does that translate well for like a tabletop board game?
Probably not.
Like at scale? Like if you have one character, it's probably all right. Like every army has their psychers usually. But
yeah, with that AdMech faction, like because the roster was so small, it was like more simpler to do. But I don't know, just like now that it's more broad, and especially their rules are still just as like convoluted to me. Some other people might find it easy, but like at current 10th edition AdMech is too many buffs stacked on other things to.
Yeah, that's my perception of it.
But to be mediocre.
Well, yeah, because before they used to be an elite army that you could kind of tune them up to a scary amount, right? At least narratively, you'd think so. In principle.
Yeah.
It bothers me to no end how, like, AdMech are an unelite army when they are literally, like, augmented individuals.
That only changed, like, recently.
Yeah,
like,
when I used... That's a 10th edition thing, and I hate it.
Yeah, because, like, the old Skitarii book was, like, elite-y stuff. Like, you didn't go beyond a 5-man unit of... Rust Stalkers or a 10-man unit of Rangers. It used to be less. It used to be 5-man unit of Rangers because I ran multiple units of 5-man Rangers with a single arquebus in the unit. That was my troop selection because it was cheap. It gave you a sniper rifle. That sniper rifle could plink off some wounds from a tank because it was fairly high strength. And now it's a weird horde army that costs probably about the 10,000 if I sold half of my armies to pay for it.
It's so egregious. Jeez.
Look, when a Dragoon is the cost of its more cost than its points, that's a fucking problem.
Yeah, and it's they should definitely be a very, very elite army, high quality army in my opinion. Like it's just so weird to me that you have Sisters of Battle that are standard humans, yes, trained to a very high level, but like why are Sisters of Battle and Scions skill 3, but Admech, these augmented individuals,
Yes,
so
steel foil.
same skill as a guardsman or a cultist. It's crazy.
Yeah, steel foil hat just said the same thing.
Yeah, there you go. This guy gets it. Steel foil hat. Genius.
Yeah.
Only good takes from steel foil hat.
My sad robot eyes, so weak, blinded by the light. Anyway, yeah. So 30k AdMech look really cool. I'm glad they're getting plastic. I hope they come to 40k, but like some of the people in the chat have mentioned, possibly not, probably not. But that's okay. We'll see how it pans out. Going back to weird Gene Stealer called Brain. What the fuck is this thing called?
Oh, I love the look.
Benefictus. The Benefictus.
Oh, you're talking about that model. Yeah, the Benefictus. Super big brain bug. It's like, how big?
Yeah, super smart. Knows a thing or three about chess.
Yeah.
I think.
At least.
Yeah, and knows the last time the Maple Leafs won a Stanley Cup.
This sounds personal.
I wish Army was here. He'd actually be losing his shit.
Yeah.
It is, from what it read, sounds like, well, I mean, they say verbatim, it shoots a shot that's like a last cannon. That is something that Gene Stealer cults don't need unless it's long range.
Is it gonna be longer range than a warp blast from a Zoanthrope? I doubt it.
I sincerely doubt it.
That feels lore inaccurate. If so, like, that's crazy. You don't have brain bug the brain bugs. Get out of here.
The problem I have with the term like rivals a last cannon with sheer destructive power is they have mining lasers, and a mining laser is like a last cannon, but a little weaker. But not Admech. Gene Stealer Call have like many ways of like adding to wound, so it's like not a bad thing. And in fact, it gets more mileage against things that are tougher, right? Like things like knights, because the last cannon would be wounding on 4s anyway. Well, now my cheap mining laser now wounds on 4s regardless, with the +1s to wound. I don't think this character. It also says that enemies recoil from waves of psychic horror and hallucination. It's probably going to be a battle shock test. Like, let's be honest. So I don't know. I don't think it will be. I don't think it's necessary, but it might be good. It probably will be good. Like, it's like the stick boy, right? Like it's like the stick leg guy. Like, he's kind of important to AdMech right now.
It just needs to have one good ability. One, redeploy 3 units and put them. They probably have a character that does that, but
they have a piece of war gear that does it. Or like
bad.
like an enhancement, sorry. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't particularly matter. I'm not a big fan of it, but we'll see. It's probably going to be good. It might be good. I just hope Big Muscle Guy with a sledgehammer is really good, because I really like that model. Oh, and the Doctor. I want the Mad Doctor. I just want Muscle Beach to be good, okay? Like, I just want like 30 dudes who are shirtless, rolling up in their truck with like a bigger dude with his shirt off, and like a weird like Nazi scientist, like just ready to party, you know?
No, I'm into it. 100%.
I hope that's there, and their detachments sound like it is.
You're 100% gonna get a detachment for Muscle Beach, just like I
would. It's right.
Get one for the
it's here. It's Biosanctic Brute Surge. Biosanctic Brute Surge is. I thought it said something about it being good for that.
for muscles.
Oh yeah. Focuses on monstrous pure strain and aberrance and lends its name to the new Gene Stealer cult battle force.
Oh, there
So
it is.
focuses on the mutants, the heretics. That's that for them. And then Sisters of Battle get a flying lady.
Oh, surprise, surprise. It's like the addition of flying characters in battle boxes.
Yeah. Why did they give them an exorcist in that battle box?
I don't know, surplus, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Like, surplus inventory, stick it in there, right?
We got listen, boys. Make this box. Just stick an exorcist in there. We haven't sold enough.
Yeah, it's a perfect complement to your jump pack sisters, obviously.
Yeah, indirect fire.
they fly through the air. The missiles fly through the air. It all makes sense. It's all in theme.
The combat patrol is pretty nice. Not everybody likes arcoflagellants, but they're pretty good game-wise.
They are an essential component of the sisters.
I like the shield ladies. I forget what their names are.
Sacrosanths, maybe.
You know what?
Maybe.
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't play sisters enough, and I don't read about them all that much. I just know like little tidbit stuff.
I played a game or two against Mr. Biggs.
Mr. Biggs is a fickle gentleman who gets upset maybe once or twice too many times when his army doesn't work. And sisters are subject to that often. But that's okay. I still think he's neat.
Yeah, he's neat. He's a good egg.
Yeah. Do I think they need a jump pack lady? I don't know. They're kind of also in the same boat of too many characters.
Well, it's weird because like
10?
in 10th, you have a system of units being led by characters, and I don't know. Are Sisters of Battle characterized by their jump pack units? I mean, they always existed.
No. Well,
right?
actually, yeah. You know what? Kinda.
They always existed. So
like,
it does make sense to have a Palatine or whatever they're called, Canonus.
Yeah, that's fair. Because Seraphim are very popular. Like they're back in the day when they were, metal ladies, barely held together by like a little twig on their little toesies. They were very popular. Dual pistols, John Woo style dual pistols. The doves flying off in the background.
Yeah,
very popular, right?
Very
like
cool. I get it.
We gotta admit, very popular. So yeah, honestly, you sold me on the jump pack lady. But they do have a shitload of characters. Now that I've been looking at it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
There's a character who's just a banner lady. You love banners.
I do love banners. This is true.
Sisters are probably the most like filled codex. Like they have just a little bit of everything, don't they? Actually, no, I take that back. The only thing they're missing is an aircraft, but that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, well, again, we've had conversations about aircraft before. They just GW has no interest in making aircrafts work, so why bother making models, right? But I also wonder, like, this might be a case where not every faction needs to have every kind of tool, right? It's kind of nice if sisters don't have an air wing detachment for your Sisters of Battle. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah, just looking at their like roster, like they have, Morven Vol is a big name character. Celestine is another big name character. You don't see her very often, but Junith, the one in like the palanquin floating eagle thing. You have the really unique looking Triumph of St. Catherine. Like that thing is just. Who would have thought a model could be just a diorama?
It's pretty sweet.
They have a pretty strong forward tank. The Exorcist has lost a lot of like punching power over the years, so like the indirect is not. I mean, like indirect is just getting like removed from the game every patch that we get. So
Much
I don't
like
know.
aircraft. I think
Yeah.
they know how to make it work.
But the Castigator is really strong for a tank. Battle Sisters are great as a troop, and looking at like battle line coming forward in the next like cards that they're putting out, it should be pretty good. Paragon Warsuits are sick. Like if you want like a brick. Arco Flagellants are really good. Well, no, they're tough. They're like really tough.
Sorry, I don't mean to say they're not effective.
I
started thinking how much I like them and conflating that with what you were talking about. And I'm like, I don't like it that much. But no, yeah. Sorry to go on. You can continue perusing their range. It is interesting.
Yeah.
They have a rotund range. Word of the day. Rotund.
They do have a rotund range. They got walkers with the mortifier / penitent engines. They got 2 different rhino chassis, just a rhino or an immolator. Yeah. They got tons of characters, like I said. They got a... What is that? Like 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, and then all the weird gaggle of Inquisitor things. Yeah, they have like 12 different characters. Yeah, no, I like them. I like Sisters.
Sisters Hellhound would be interesting. I see that in chat. They have a rhino with a...
What? Yeah, I think the Immolator... Right? I think the Immolator is like kind of like that, isn't it? Or is it just Melt-A-Guns on the Immolator?
I think you can put both. Or I think it's an option. I think you choose one or the other.
It looks like a heavy flamer on the front there, so I think they are kind of like the Baneblade equivalent. Or not Baneblade. Bane, yeah, sorry, Hellhound. I was looking at the other comment where they want a Baneblade. It would be nice for them to have like a big, like, fuck you tank.
Like a cathedral on tracks? Hell yeah.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah.
Battle Sanctum, if you will. Oh my goodness.
Could be neat.
Could be cool.
Yeah.
It's just a fortification. Then everyone's sad.
Oh man. Well, then those Iron Warrior rules are really gonna kick in.
Oh yeah, you saw that.
Yeah.
Anti-fortification? Oh boy.
Yeah, wasn't enhancement for anti-fortification? Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's at least they remembered to put vehicles in there, thankfully.
Just like how Night Lords have the like I don't know, like stigma of being the battle shock army. Iron Warriors and Imperial Fist are the we fuck fortifications up fucking army. Like that's just their shtick, and they've had that for so fucking long. Now it's not so much. It's very minor. Like it's usually just like one piece of supporting.
Yeah, it's obligatory at this point, right? It's just we have to put it in there. Some mention of fortifications. Some people may use them, you know.
Some people are allowed to use them if they would like. I wish fortifications were cool. I've been in a world where fortifications were good and were taken all the time, and it wasn't very fun. Once upon a time, every army had an Aegis defense line. And it was...
Oh my god.
Pretty abysmal.
Yeah,
but then...
Sorry, I was looking at something else, and I was not listening to what you said, but I think I heard it. Every army is having an Aegis defense line. They're just going tournaments, and then it's just like, hey, here's my army, and here's my auto-include Aegis defense line. That's the paradigm you're talking about?
Yeah, it was like 100 points to have an Aegis defense line that gave you cover and a last cannon or auto cannon.
Right, because of that piece.
The funniest bit from 6th edition with when that was around was like people used to sell this was a Tyrannid Aegis defense line and The reason for that was Tyranids wanted one. They really wanted an Aegis defense line. And the reason why is A, it gave you cover. It was very good. Very, very good for cover. But also, spore mines. Let me repeat this. Spore mines could man the fucking artillery.
Look, you had me at spore mines, okay?
I used to run max spore mines. It was all fast attack. It was 12, 12, and 12. 36 spore mines, every army. Every list. Every list had 36 spore mines. They were...
How many were required to man the turret?
1.
Brilliant.
Yeah. 1 spore mine.
So funny. Spore mine, jeez. Rules abuse. Tavish, this Dark Commune lady. You swindled me in the trade. You're missing a pistol. Now it's ruined.
Uh-oh.
Now it's completely ruined. Just throw it in the trash. I just noticed. I was looking it up while Matt was talking about Aegis defense lines.
I'm not responsible for it.
I know. It's past the warranty. No trade backs. I get it.
It's probably on the sprue still.
Do you have the sprue?
Probably.
Give it a look, see when you get a chance. If you have the same piece, I'll put it in there. If not, I'll just leave it empty. It honestly looks fine without it. I'm just kidding around. But if you have it, I mean, it would satisfy the OCD, you know. But the model's pretty good. I'm enjoying purple. Purple's a fun color to paint. I don't know if you guys are aware of that.
Purple? Yeah.
It's not often you get to paint purple.
No. I like that like deeper shade of purple. Of like blue purple. I was just talking to some of the people in the chat. They mentioned the Fromresian wolves manning the turret, and also I remember the rhino.
God.
The rhino could man the turret. Yeah, so just the visual, like you know when you're driving through the drive-thru and you just didn't quite get too close to like the drive-thru door, and you're just like reaching out to like grab your thing. That's what the guy's doing in the rhino. He's reaching off to the side to just quickly man that Icarus Array turret or whatever the fuck it was. Very funny.
Let me reverse and try this again.
Hold on, let me throw up real quick. Forget what other fortifications used to be like just abysmal.
I mean, in 8th or was it 9th? The Noctilith Crown was.
The Noctilith Crown was
like Army was using it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's miserable for the thing that you hate the most, which is everybody gets an invulnerable save.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like, it's one thing to have invulnerable saves on like a Terminator. Yeah, sure, a Terminator. He's super powerful, big, thick tank boy. It's another thing to have 30 cultists have a 5-up invulnerable save. Like, it's just abysmal to chew through, right?
As I'm painting a Dark Commune lady. Definitely doesn't apply to this. There's nothing to see here. Nothing.
No.
Like, I'm not doing it because I'm abusing the rules, right? There's a pure intent here.
I think you're fine.
Yeah. I'm not putting it on the accursed cultist. Obviously, it's going to lead a cultist mob, okay? Why would the Dark Commune hang out with the Freakazoids? It doesn't make any sense. Okay?
Yeah, well, I, for one, wouldn't do that. I think the Freakazoid should scout 6 and get in people's way and just do a
you
bit
know what? Now that they scout 6, certainly.
Yeah, I'd leave them by themselves. I remember the Bastion being pretty strong. The Bastion was pretty good. Because it was, like, really, really tough, so you couldn't blow it up really easy. The problem with the Aegis was you couldn't interact with it. The Aegis was invincible. It didn't have a wounds characteristic. It was just...
Yeah, it sounds like a problem.
It was just a piece of random terrain. So back in the day, terrain gave cover save. And cover saves were different than what they are now, which is just like +1 to your armor. Cover saves back in the day were like a pseudo invulnerable save. They were only affected by shooting, and they varied based on what the cover was, but I I can't remember if the Aegis gave you like a better one, but I just remember it gave you a cover save as long as you were behind the Aegis part. And just had basically, again, like we were talking about with the Noctilith Crown, like having 30 Termagants, or in my case 36 Spore Mines, have cover saves when they have no save is pretty decent.
Oh, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
It just goes so far, right? You have so many wounds to chew through, and each one now you've just borked the AP system on a unit that isn't paying the points for it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
100 points.
It's old news.
Yeah, like it was so cheap too. It was 100 points. It was 50 points if you just wanted the Aegis part, and then another 50 points for the gun. You didn't have to take the gun if you didn't want to.
Mm-hmm. But then the psychological impact of the Spore Mine shooting the gun at them and killing your stuff is too worth.
Yeah, I just like to imagine like my Spore Mine like with a red bandana on his head, and he's like screaming Maria, but like gurgling, Stallone noises. Yeah, it's a silly concept that was part of a silly edition. Like 6th edition was a silly boy edition. And it pissed a lot of people off, and they fucking left for a while. Then 7th edition was just even more wacky and wild, and brought a lot of other problems. Oh fuck. Yeah. 8th edition had a little stint of fortification stuff, but yeah, like we were saying before, it was just mostly our play group. A guy used the Noctilith Crown. I used the Feculent Gnarlmaw, I remember that, for my death guard.
All right. Yeah, those creepy trees.
Yeah, because they let Nurgle demons advance and charge and advance and shoot. And I liked the Plague Burst Crawler with the dual flamers. That was my favorite loadout. They were deceptively fast. For big chunguses.
Oh, hell yeah. Big roadblocks.
Yeah, that was my favorite part about them. It was like, killing them was like what I wanted you to do. Nobody took the bait. Everyone always went for like fucking like the Plague Marines or whatever, or like the Terminators.
Interesting
like,
question here. Well, interesting to me. Given how popular the Land Raider Redeemer is for its big, tough, defensible profile and flamers, how come we haven't seen any action with the Plague Burst Crawlers in that?
Because it doesn't do 2 damage.
I see.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's honestly that 2 damage part.
Yeah, and then for the application I'm talking about, it actually makes more sense to have one greater quality piece for that Overwatch cost rather than multiple units trying to you're spreading the potency out too much for the purpose of the stratagems.
Yeah. The Plague Marine Flamer is interesting though. I'm pretty sure that one has anti-infantry 2. I want to say anti-infantry 2. So it's pretty good. It's just, I don't know, the 2 damage on the Redeemer plus the chassis, right? Like the chassis is another like real like sticking point. T12, 16 wounds or 14 wounds or whatever it is, 2+ save in a world where everything gets cover. It's just not. It's so hard to shift.
Are we looking at a 3-up with lower toughness? That's a given, but is it 3-up?
Yeah, it's a.
It's probably 3. I'm not trying to put the referencing on you. My bad.
No, you're good. I can look right now. I'm got my phone out anyway. Plague Burst Crawler. 2-up save, so same save. T10, 12 wounds, so it's less wounds, less toughness. And yeah, the Plague Spitter is anti-infantry 2, 1 damage and AP 1 versus AP 2 and 2 damage from the Flame Storm. Yeah, it's just not the same. Not the same kind of impact.
Yeah, for area denial with a big Chungus square box tank, the Land Raider is definitely better. Yeah. As soon as I thought about it, like more, so just trying to do the same thing with 3 units is just gonna be less effective in this particular context. You want that single potent Land Raider with what is it, D6 plus 3.
Yeah, D6 D6
so
plus 3.
Stupid.
Yeah,
Good.
it's just so abysmal, and it didn't go up any points. Yeah, it's just such a force multiplier because like the threat of Overwatch from that thing is so I
Oh, it's
I
for
toe
real.
the line. I play chicken with it every time I play against it. I'm like, yeah, do it, do the Overwatch, and then I always die. It's always the chicken fails, and I just get completely shit on.
It's a bully. Definitely
Yeah,
a bully.
the
Now, did the
chi-
points not go up for that because I don't keep track of the ranking, so I'll defer to you here. Is that because Space Marines aren't overperforming?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's also not a model that's in every Space Marine list. It's not even like it's just because people don't equip their army to deal with it. Like it's your army has so many like limited aspects to like build around certain threats. And this is purely like a gameplay kind of conversation we're having, but like specking into something that is T12 and that many wounds with 2-up save, you have to be very meticulous with what you pick. When I play things like Votan, I don't have a lot of avenues. I have to just get lucky. So I have to put the judgment tokens on that tank, and I have to get lucky shooting my Yahtzee gun, basically the Sagittars. Well, no, that thing isn't very good at it either. But the Sagittars gun, the high las rotary gun or whatever the fuck it's called, because it's 2 shots. If you roll a 6, each one gets D3 sustained, so you can spike really high. It's AP3, and it's D6 damage. So that's why it's called a Yahtzee gun. You just want to roll 6s. Just keep rolling 6s because you just get the most out of that gun. When I play army, one of my Sagittars got really lucky. I spiked 2 6s on the hit. I got 6 additional hits total, and that's the only reason I killed it. And then the second time we played, I did 0 damage to it, and I shot it with most of my Sagittars. I shot it with the Land Fortress. It's just, it's got a profile that's just very hard to shift, and in a world where everything gets cover, a 2+ save thing that's getting cover is just very hard to remove.
Mhm.
It's getting more or less an invulnerable save on most.
Oh, and you're a faction with Armored Contempt.
Yeah, armor contempt. Yeah,
Just exacerbates the already difficult challenge.
yeah. It's like in Eldar, I'd have no problem killing it.
I agree.
It's very easy to, and my favorite Eldar model is the Fire Prism. It's my favorite model. Every Eldar list I ever build, I always try and put 2. Ever since they introduced Link Fire, it's my favorite ability. Just being able to like shoot one prism through another one is like that design space with GSC. Movement is key, positioning is key. It's my favorite. I love it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same point. It's a kind of design philosophy you'd wish there was more of in the game, right? Like having units interact with each other in meaningful ways. Not. I think it's more exciting on the Fire Prism than it is in the GSC. And in fairness, it's an army rule versus a unit rule, right? But I think of things like the Slanesh Mirror and like being able to bounce psychic powers in older editions. I'm just like, give me something interesting mechanically with the units that we have. And the Fire Prism might be one of the best examples of it. It's unfortunate.
Yeah,
like it's so oppressive, like it's so effective, so it gets a bad stigma, I think. But
Yeah.
that's fluffy. Whatever, make it cost more. That's fine.
Yeah. It's definitely needed its cost raise because, like, I don't know if you remember at the beginning of 10th, it was, I think, 130 points, 120 points. Like, what a actual steal.
Yeah.
I'd run 3 every game. You couldn't stop me. But at 180 compared to, like, the Lancer, both of those chassis are kind of in a similar boat. I will say that the Lancer being less points is fair, and the Fire Prism being 180 is, if it went to 200, I'd still probably take 2. I'd still probably bite the bullet and take the 400 points and take 2. But what I'm getting at is, in Eldar, I have the tools to deal with something like a Land Raider Crusader fairly easy with the combination of the rerolls that the Fire Prism innately gets, plus the reroll from the Battle Host, and 1 or 2 cheeky wounds that pass through, along with like a 6 for the, to like confirm the damage or what. Well, actually, it's flat 6, so you don't even have to do that. You just hit and wound, and then you're good. And it's AP a billion. It's like tons of AP. But in other armies, like if I played against the Land Raider with my Tyranids, I don't know how I kill it, because Zone Throw-Ups are really unreliable. They only get 1 shot each. I still have to wound on 4s. I might get lucky with some lethal hits, and I might botch some D6 damage rolls, which I really hate that we went back to that D6 roll for damage. It's a major turnoff. So yeah, I don't really know.
All those 2 examples actually illustrate the dichotomy perfectly, I think.
Yeah, like the Prism doing flat 6 versus like a Zone Throw doing D6 plus 1. But
yeah, some armies can just deal with the boogeyman a bit better.
Yeah. So Land Raider, I understand why it didn't go up. It's just annoying. It's like an annoying unit, and I'm sure every army has like an annoying unit. I'm sure fucking Eldar as an army is an annoying unit to people.
Oh yeah, certainly, right? When you're fire and fading and using that with like fire, it can be very frustrating for sure.
Yeah. I just don't want to be shot. I'm so little and soft.
Hey, if the cost is right, I think it can work. I don't think it's bad. I think that's
no. I think now that,
to be honest,
I think now that things like Phantasm are basically can't really use it anymore, and Fire and Fade being 2 CP, well, now my game plan is fixed to I have to spend 2 CP every turn for the next 5 turns. Like, that's just what has to happen. So then, as an Eldar player, I don't have 10 CP, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get 1 for the turn and 1 because it's mandatory to take an Autarch. So there's my 2 every turn, and then I get 1 extra for your turn. So I get to play the game with 5 CP, and that's fair. That means that I don't get to play around with everything. I don't get to do things like Blade Storm. This is purely in a competitive talk. Yeah. But you have to visualize that game plan ahead and be like, okay, 10 CP put to the side. I can't spend CP on rerolls. I can't spend CP on, bullshit. I can't do Blade Storm. I can't do even cheeky Phantasm. I can't. Maybe I'll do the fallback shoot and charge, because that's a useful stratagem. But that's it, right? Versus you playing like Salamanders, or even now Chaos Space Marines. Well, you have tons of aspects of different things you can use your CP for. You can get things like Armor of Contempt. You can do things that are like extra devastating wounds or Dark Pact stuff or whatever, right? So it's just a different, I don't know, design space.
No, I think it's fair. Like, obviously you want your factions to function differently on the tabletop, offer different gameplay experiences, and it's a fair cost for what you're doing. It's not like I mean, I wouldn't necessarily. I see what you mean, but I wouldn't frame it as like you only have 5 CP, right? You're choosing to use that CP on a potent utility that your army has, and that's in this case fairly fluffy, very evasive and tricksy, as the Eldar tend to be. I think it's in good taste.
Yeah. I would love to just play orcs and call the WOG and just charge.
Oh, it's certainly more fun. It would have to be. I'm speaking from an onlooker, right?
Yeah.
It seems more freeing, you know.
I'm a more tasteful orc player. I wouldn't scream it, but I would really just love to play orcs. I just like those little guys, those little green guys. They're really nice.
Yeah, they're pretty charming. They look like they're having a good time.
So I might buy some orcs, not to like start the army or anything, but like just like 1 or 2 models here and there, because I really like new Snickrot. Like he's just a very like cool.
Oh, I forgot he got a new model. That was 9th edition.
Yeah, he's basically Tom Clancy orc. Like he's super cool. And maybe like I don't know, like a Beast Snaga guy, because I just like the like Monster Hunter scale cloaks and stuff like that.
Oh, it's the coolest, man. Good pick.
Yeah.
You have good taste, I can tell.
I'm a fan of the hunting. Did you see since Sean's not here to bitch and moan about video game talk, did you see the next Monster Hunter little announcement like last year?
I did not. I've been super out of the loop on Monster Hunter.
Oh, you're disappointing me.
I'm sorry. I peaked. I peaked on PSP. Okay.
God, what if Laggy comes back or Cantor?
I told myself if the next one Laggy is, then I'll probably feel obligated to get the armor set. We'll see.
I'm gonna keep you.
Let me know. Let me know for sure. If
I will.
Yeah. We'll do some hunting. We'll do some hunting. Maybe we'll stream it if my PC can handle. We'll see.
I've been putting some money aside to upgrade my computer for that. If I already have like a decent PC build, but if it needs to be more, then I have some money on the side. Plus, I could sell all my armies and then buy whatever I want.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, sorry guys, I gotta head off here.
Oh yeah,
maybe it's
almost
a
10.
good time to wrap her up. This was an enjoyable conversation as per usual. Melon and Tavish, much appreciated.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yep. Thank you to everyone who made it to the end of the stream. Hope you guys got your projects further along as well.
Bye, guys. Later.